Okay, we're looking at something new here. It's factorising by grouping in pairs. Now, if I'm asking you to factorise this, you can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. And when there are 4 terms in an expression, you can often factorise by grouping in pairs. And then you'll first group them in pairs, factorise both those pairs, and then you'll find a common factor and factorise again. So if we just look at what we've got there, and I just look at the first 2 terms, what I could factorise out is definitely an x and a 3. So I take out 3x, and looking at this first term, I'm left with 4y, and looking at the second term, I'm left with minus 3. Now, in this method, so I take out a factor at the front, and now I've got my bracket. The second bracket has to be identical to the first bracket. So what I do is whatever I've written in the first bracket, I'll write it in the second bracket again. So we've factorised the first 2 terms and ended up with that. Now we have to factorise the last 2 terms, and we're going to end up with something here. So I need minus 16y, so I'll have to times this 4y by minus 4. So I've got minus 16y, and my negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. So this is correct. Okay, so just checking. That's 12xy minus 9x. That's my first 2 terms, minus 16y plus 12. Now I can see that the brackets are a common factor. So 4y minus 3 in brackets is a common factor between these 2 terms. And if we take that out, we're left with 3x minus 4. Okay, so that's an example of grouping in pairs. Just another one here. Looking at the first 2 terms, what's in common is x squared. If you take that out, you're left with an x minus 1. So just checking, that's x cubed minus x squared. Remember, the second bracket needs to be the same. Otherwise, the method doesn't work. So I need to have x minus 1 in the second bracket. So something times x is x. It must be plus 1. So let's just check. Plus x, and 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. So that works. So take out the common factor, which is the brackets. And what's left is x squared plus 1. So I've taken out the x minus 1 as a common factor. And what's left in the first term is x squared. And what's left in the second term is plus 1. Okay, the next one. Common factor would just be x, and factorising that out, we've got, that would give me x squared minus 2bx. Remember, the second bracket has to be the same. Okay, so something times x is negative 5x. It must be negative 5. So let's just check. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 2b is positive 10b, so that works. Taking out the brackets as your common factor, x minus 2b. And once they're removed, the remaining bits are x minus 5. Okay, now with the next one, I can't find a common factor between the first 2 terms. So when that happens, you have to arrange the 4 terms. So I'm going to put this 3a next to the ax. So I've got ax plus 3a, and I'm going to go minus 12 minus 4x. So I've just rearranged them. Okay, so I've put the ax and the 3a together. So common factor here would be a bracket, and then we've got x plus 3. Remember, the second bracket has to be x plus 3. So just be careful. I probably should have arranged these 2 around as well now looking at this. So I've already factorised this out, so I'm just going to cover that. Okay, so I don't need to see that. But I need something times x is obviously not going to give me negative 12, but it'll give me negative 4x. So I need negative 4. So negative 4 times x is negative 4x, and negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. So I really could have written those 2 like this. Ax plus 3a minus 4x minus 12. But it's exactly the same. Okay? And now my common factor is x plus 3. And when I've pulled out that common factor, my other factor is the remaining bits are a minus 4. Again, with this one, there's nothing in common between the 2ax and the 3. So I'm going to put the 2ax with the a, so minus a. And because the x term is first here and then just the a, I'm going to put the minus bx next and the plus 3. And we'll just see how that goes. Okay, so what's in common between these 2? It's a. I'm left with 2x minus 1. And the second bracket has to be 2x minus 1. And when I look at this, there's no way I can get that. Oh, sorry, actually, I think that's a 6x, not a bx. It's a 6x. Just written the question out wrong. So, yeah, that's a 6. So when I've got 2x minus 1 here, I need to get negative 6x, so I must multiply it by negative 3. So let's try this. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x, and negative 3 times negative 1 is plus 3, positive 3. So that works. So 2x minus 1 is the common factor, and we're left with a minus 3. Okay, now, sometimes when you've got 4 terms, the first 2 terms could actually be a difference of 2 squares, which is what you did in the homework from last lesson. So s squared minus t squared is s minus t, s plus t. Okay, now you have to choose. Now, so we've got s squared minus t squared is s minus t, s plus t. I'm going to just put, so I've got to choose either s minus t or s plus t for this second. So I factorised these first 2 terms. I need to factorise the second 2 terms. Really, the best way to do that is to write s minus t as a factor and plus 1 in front of it. So we've got plus s minus t. So the common factor between the 2 terms is s minus t, so that's been pulled out. And what's left over is this s plus t, and I can put it in an extra bracket, plus this 1. And then I can just expand the second bracket, because you don't need a bracket there. And I've got s plus t plus 1. Okay, now that's a bit of a tricky one. Now looking here, I can't factorise these first 2 terms together, so again I'm going to rearrange. Now I could put, there's a few ways I could do this. I can put the 5x with it, or I can just see what I've done up there, but let's say I put the 5x with it and I try this. Plus, so I'm going to put the 5x there, plus 5y minus y squared. Because what will happen sometimes, you'll try something and it won't work. So here I've got x bracket x plus 5. Remember, when we use this method, I need to have the second bracket also as x plus 5, but that's not going to work. There's no way I can put a constant here or any other, or even a pronumeral to end up with 5y minus y squared from that. So that does not work. So I've rearranged these. I have to try a different order. So I'll start again, and we'll look at this question again. X squared plus 5y minus y squared plus 5x. So there's a few other ways I could do it. I could put x squared minus y squared together, and then go plus 5x plus 5y, and do what I did in this example up here, which is difference of 2 squares. So you have to look out for difference of 2 squares as well. So that's x minus y, x plus y, to factorise the first 2 terms. And we can see that if we choose x plus y, because you have to have one of these 2 in the second bracket, you could just put a plus 5 here, so that we can end up with the last 2 terms. So plus 5x plus 5y. And the common factor is x plus y. And what's left over is x minus y there, plus 5, but you can open that bracket up. So we've got x plus y, x minus y plus 5. Okay, now, you could have also rearranged those in a different way, so that's one way you can do it. You could have also done it like this. So x squared plus 5y minus y squared plus 5x. You know, when we put the 5x next to it, that didn't work, but you could have also gone like this and gone 5y plus 5x, like rearrange those 2 together, minus y squared plus x squared. Actually, I'll probably do it the other way. I'd go 5x plus 5y plus x squared minus y squared. That's another way you could have done it. And you could have taken out your x plus y here. 5 is a common factor. You end up with x plus y. Now we know that we have to have an x plus y in our second term. And we know this is a difference of 2 squares. So x squared minus y squared is x plus y, x minus y. Okay, so could have worked out 3 ways. I think this way here is best. Okay, but this is similar. It's actually the same, just writing here the x squared minus y squared first, and here we're writing the 5x plus 5y first, but it's the same. And then you'd take out x plus y as a common factor, and you'd end up with 5 plus, and that bracket there, x minus y. It's exactly the same answer, x plus y times 5 plus x minus y. Now, the only time you'll need to rearrange is if the first two terms don't factorise. Okay? All right, that's the end of that factorising by grouping in pairs.